When I learned that my boyfriend Cedric Harvey was trapped in his house due to a fire, I rushed to rescue him. I dashed into the inferno, searching everywhere but to no avail. However, as I exhaustively ran out of the burning building, I heard roars of laughter coming from the neighboring house. That fool, Wendy Berry, has been tricked again through the half-open window. I finally spotted my boyfriend lounging on the sofa, casually playing with his phone without a care in the world. This is the 47th time we've gotten revenge on her. We can stop after the 50th time. She deserves it. Who told her to steal the scholarship from Olivia? Cedric's true love. That's why Cedric decided to date her as revenge 50 times. Too bad the fun will be over soon. I bent over, gasping for air, so the relationship I had carefully nurtured was nothing but a game in their eyes. Standing outside the door, my whole body trembled uncontrollably. My arms ached, leaving me powerless. I turned back to look at the burning room behind me, while waves of mocking laughter kept ringing in my ears. Do you think she'll go back for a second rescue attempt? After all, when we tricked her into thinking Cedric was trapped at school before, she smashed all the locked rooms and ended up paying £80,000 in damages. She's only just finished paying it off. It's hilarious watching a poor person try to play the savior. Cedric calmly interrupted them. All right, I've already called the fire brigade to put out the fire. Don't actually get her killed. We're not done playing yet. Those 4 words, not done playing yet, echoed in my ears like an evil mantra, nearly making me lose my balance. It wasn't until the paramedics lifted me onto a stretcher. Then I noticed the burns on both my arms, which made me shiver in pain. The attentive paramedic noticed and asked if I was hurting. As if finding an outlet, my eyes welled up with tears. It hurts so much, I said softly, seemingly using all my strength. The pain wasn't just physical, but in my heart as well. My consciousness gradually blurred as I closed my eyes. In my dream, I seemed to return to my first encounter with Cedric. He appeared in my life like an angel, giving me love and teaching me what love is. He was a high-class rich boy who sympathized with my orphan background and protected my fragile heart. I tried hard to maintain the balance between us until our second year at university, when I owed the school £80,000 for trying to save him. My strong sense of pride prevented me from asking him for help. In the end, he found me at the hospital, exhausted from overworking. He paid the £80,000 for me, saying he couldn't live without me. At that time, I was filled with sweetness, thinking that fate had finally started to be kind to this unfortunate soul. But when I opened my tear-filled eyes, I only saw my best friend Liza Black. Seeing me awake, she finally couldn't hold back her tears. These injuries will take at least 2 weeks to heal. Is Cedric really worth it? I forced a smile and grasped her hand. After those 2 weeks, could you help me buy a train ticket? To anywhere. As long as it's away from Cedric. After 2 weeks of recovery, I was feeling much better and the hospital quickly discharged me. I immediately took a taxi back to the company to hand in my resignation. The manager looked at me with a troubled expression, trying to persuade me to stay. Seeing my persistence, he let out a sigh. Shortly after, I received a call from Cedric. His tone was cold. You're resigning? I was a bit stunned. How did you know? Seeing the manager holding his forehead, the truth became clear. This company belongs to your family, doesn't it? I clenched my fists tightly, my head buzzing. All the hardships I had endured at the company suddenly made sense. No wonder I was always assigned the dirtiest and most laborious tasks. No wonder I never received bonuses despite completing multiple major projects and consistently being the top performer. No wonder everyone looked at me with contempt and never included me in any activities. I should have been used to this isolation over the years. I was honest and hardworking, thinking that having a job was enough, planning to pay off my debts before changing jobs. But realizing that all of this was Cedric's doing made me feel cold all over, almost unable to breathe. Noticing my silence, Cedric clicked his tongue. I know I shouldn't have kept it from you, but you always refused my help. I had no choice but to work behind the scenes. Don't be ungrateful. I couldn't help but question him. So everyone in the company knows I'm here because of connections. Did you ever consider what position that puts me in? Cedric avoided answering, which was as good as an admission. I can explain it to everyone at the company. It's not a big deal. I insisted. No need to explain. I'm resigning. Cedric was getting impatient, his voice rising. Why do you have to cling to that worthless self-respect? Without me, you wouldn't be living such a good life now. A sweet female voice came from his end, asking when he'd be ready. Cedric hurriedly ended the conversation. All right, I'll come find you later. The call disconnected quickly. Ignoring his words, I decisively returned to my workstation to pack up my things and leave the company. As I entered the small alley on my usual route home, a rascal suddenly appeared whistling. Well, where are you off to, love? I recognized this voice as one of the people who had mocked me on the day of the fire, Darren Stone. I clutched my bag tightly and turned to run. I hadn't taken more than a few steps when I stopped abruptly. I was trapped from both sides. Before I could react, a hand grabbed my head and yanked it back. A lewd laugh came from above me. Don't be scared. We'll take good care of you. In front of me, the dim light of the alley illuminated a man wearing a mask. The smell of alcohol on him made my head ache. His hands roamed over my body, then firmly gripped my waist. Oh, such a tiny waist. Suppressing the urge to vomit, I raised my foot and kicked hard. Get off me. The masked man let out a muffled groan and released my waist. Seeing me struggle, Darren above me immediately clamped his other hand around my neck, shouting to the man on the ground. Quick, strip her clothes off and take photos. The masked man recovered and slapped me hard across the face. That's for kicking me. The two of them pinned me against the wall. As I watched my clothes being torn off until I was left in just my underwear, tears involuntarily streamed down my face. The pressure on my body suddenly eased. After a series of punching sounds, I heard Cedric speak coldly. Get lost. I crouched against the wall. It was Cedric who pulled back the jacket and helped me put my clothes back on, his head lowered. When he looked up, his eyes were bloodshot. I'm sorry. I was late. He tried to lift me up, but I pushed him away. I leaned against the wall and staggered forward. Cedric followed behind me in silence. As I walked, my vision went black and I fainted. I don't know how much time passed, but I vaguely woke up to hear Cedric arguing with someone. Could you have asked for my permission before trying to rape her? She's my woman, after all. Hey man, we were just messing around because she told you off this afternoon. What's the matter? Don't tell me you've actually fallen for her. Cedric's voice suddenly rose. How could that be possible? She's the person I despise most in this world. I heard a fist slam against the wall. Anyway, don't you dare do anything without my orders in the future. After saying this, he suddenly walked in. I didn't have time to close my eyes, and our gazes met. I watched as the color drained from his face. You heard everything? What? I feigned confusion. He breathed a sigh of relief. Then I grew much colder, turning to get up. If there's nothing else, I'll head home now. Cedric grabbed my hand, then pressed on my shoulder to make me lie back down. This is my bedroom. You should rest here properly. Of course I knew this was Cedric's bedroom. After all, there was still a photo of him and Olivia on the desk in front. The two of them were wearing high school uniforms, smiling brightly. Cedric and I had been together for 5 years. Forget about taking photos together. Even when I wanted to take a single photo of him as a memento, he would immediately snatch my phone away and angrily scold me. Don't take photos in the future. I hate having my picture taken. Cedric followed my gaze, immediately rushing over to flip the photo face down on the desk, explaining nervously, "This girl is Olivia, your university classmate and also my cousin. Don't overthink it." "Oh," I responded dismissively. Cedric hesitated, unable to resist asking, "Is there nothing else you want to know?" I raised my eyes to stare intently at him, my fingers clenched tightly, digging into my palms. A glimmer of difficult hope flashed through my heart. "Do you have anything you want to explain?" Cedric opened his mouth, frustration evident in his expression. We both knew something had changed between us after that fire incident meant to trick me. I was too well behaved. In the past, I would have kept questioning Cedric about why he took photos with her but not with me. Cedric would likely have gotten into a huge argument with me. In the end, we still wouldn't have taken any photos, and I would cry heartbrokenly while he stormed out in irritation. Silence spread between us. Then, a woman's voice came from nearby, breaking the quiet. "Cedric, I heard Wendy came to your place. Let me see her." I hadn't expected to see Olivia again at Cedric's home. She was even prettier than when I'd last seen her at university. Dressed head to toe in luxury brands, dimples appearing when she smiled. I didn't need to look to know I was more disheveled than her, covered in injuries. I forced a smile and greeted her. "Olivia, long time no see." Before Olivia could speak, Cedric took her hand and let her out. The soundproofing in this room wasn't very good. I heard Cedric ask in a low voice, "Why are you here? Didn't I tell you not to meet?" Olivia's hurt voice came from outside. "But you haven't spoken to me in 24 hours. I heard them say you brought her home. You never used to bring her here before. And didn't you say before that only I could sleep in your bed?" I froze in disbelief. The sting of tears welled up again, and I shakily covered my mouth. I heard Cedric scold her quietly. "Lower your voice. What if she hears?" Olivia paused, her voice softer but even more hurt. "You're scolding me because of her." Their voices were so quiet that I had to strain to hear. Yet the sound of Cedric kissing her was deafening. "Good girl, can you wait for me a little longer?" Olivia sniffled, silent for a moment before speaking. "In a few days, I'm having my birthday party on a yacht. You have to stay with me the whole time. She should come too. I want to break her heart on the yacht, make her witness the man she likes being intimate with me. Then I'll say there's been an accident on the yacht and throw her onto the small boat I've prepared." Cedric's voice grew colder. "What are you planning to do?" Olivia scoffed. "I want to cut her off from us completely, let her drift away on her own. She could get hurt that way." Olivia suddenly grew anxious. "Didn't you say you'd do anything for me? What do you mean now? Besides, she can swim. What are you worried about?" All right, I'll agree to it. Don't be upset." Cedric coaxed her gently. I heard their footsteps getting louder and quickly went back to lie on the bed. After the door opened, Olivia's face bore a brilliant smile as she ran over to check on me before eagerly speaking. "Wendy, I'm having my birthday party on a yacht in 3 days. Will you come?" Cedric stood to the side without a word, his expression not looking very good. I smiled and replied, "Of course, it's been so long since we've seen each other. If you want me to drift away right in front of you, I'll oblige." The 3 days passed more quickly than I'd imagined. Olivia's birthday party was quite grand, with all sorts of people on the yacht. Just as she'd said, she made a dazzling entrance on Cedric's arm, appearing to everyone's praise of them as the golden couple. All the contemptuous looks fell on me. I heard mocking laughter around me, but I paid no attention, growing rather impatient with the wait. The party proceeded normally, but soon someone suddenly cried out, "Fire!" People on the yacht began to flee in all directions. I was swept along with the crowd to the deck. Olivia rushed over immediately, grabbing my hand with an urgent expression. "Wendy, quick, jump onto that boat." I looked at the small boat specially prepared for me and jumped without hesitation. After a moment of dizziness, I heard raucous laughter from the yacht. "Everyone come look, that idiot Wendy actually jumped." I raised my head, silently watching them. The railing was crowded with people, but despite their different faces, they all wore the same mocking expression. Olivia slowly raised a pair of scissors. Amidst the jeering in my gaze, she cut the rope connecting the small boat to the yacht. "Stupid girl, drift away on your own." As she finished speaking, I saw Cedric come running from behind. He pushed everyone aside, rushing to grab the fallen rope. But he couldn't catch it. "Are you all mad? Wendy could really die like this. There's a bomb on that boat." Hearing this, I turned to look at the countdown display on the bomb placed on the boat, the corners of my mouth lifting slightly. The sea breeze tousled my hair. Cedric's current anxious expression was imprinted in my eyes, but I found it amusing. After being deceived by him for so long, I could finally trick him face to face. "Cedric, Are you satisfied with this 50th act of revenge? The sea wind carried away most of the volume, but I knew Cedric must have heard. He stood frozen in place. Taking advantage of his momentary shock, I walked into the boat without hesitation. Boom! A blaze of fire shot into the sky, illuminating the surroundings. Goodbye, Cedric. I opened the hidden hatch on the small boat. Before the bomb fully detonated, I swam downwards desperately, hoping to minimize the damage. When it exploded completely, the force of the blast felt like a powerful fist slamming me down. Gulp. The impact made my abdomen contract violently, and I swallowed several mouthfuls of water, nearly losing consciousness. The water was too deep. I swam upwards with all my might, only feeling relieved when I saw the light. Looking up, I realized the cruise ship was now just a tiny dot in my vision. Perfect, I thought, finally breaking into a relieved smile as I gazed at the sunlight above. They wouldn't be able to find me. I let myself drift, not knowing for how long, until I finally reached the shore. I lay on the beach, my head spinning, trying hard to focus and figure out where I was. Before I could make sense of my surroundings, I saw a pair of wellies appear in front of me. Oh dear, what's a young lady like you doing here? It sounded like a middle-aged woman. She grabbed my arm, trying to help me up. Brandon, come quick and help me. Another set of footsteps approached. In a daze, I was placed on a tricycle and taken to a cottage. The woman laid me on a bed and felt my forehead to check my temperature. You're burning up. She hurriedly tried to bring my fever down. When she finished, I had finally regained some clarity and managed to smile. Thank you both. The woman leaned in and spoke. Just call me Margie, and that's Brandon. I nodded, sitting up with her help. Margie asked if I wanted to contact my family, and after I nodded, she handed me her mobile. I dialed Liza's number. When she answered, I spoke with a smile. It worked. We had successfully staged a fake death for Cedric Harvey to witness. Cedric would never have guessed that Liza was the engineer for this cruise ship, and that she had designed the hidden hatch in the small boat. The bomb, as well as the letter about the bomb that he received, were all part of our plan. Even drifting to the small island was a route we had mapped out in advance. Liza eagerly spoke up. All right then, you rest on the island for a bit and wait to catch the train out of there later. I made a sound of agreement and then hung up. I glanced at the date displayed on the mobile. 10 more days. Just enough time for me to recover before leaving. Meanwhile, on the ship, many people were unaware of the true nature of Olivia's prank. When they saw the small boat suddenly explode, they were still cheering. My God, that revenge effect was terrifying. Do you think Wendy Berry fainted up there? Probably. Shut up. Cedric gripped the railing of the cruise ship tightly, his eyes bloodshot. This is a real explosion. Call for help quick. Olivia's face turned pale, the scissors in her hand clattering to the ground as she kept muttering. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. The others were still in a daze, but after seeing Cedric and Olivia's reactions, they were completely stunned. Olivia, frightened, took out her mobile and shakily contacted the rescue team. Cedric, worried that the rescue team would be too slow, made a split-second decision and jumped overboard. Cedric! A chorus of shouts came from the ship's edge. Are you mad? But Cedric couldn't care less about that now. He had never felt so panicked before. He had never intended to take Wendy's life. The massive flames were still consuming the small boat as Cedric kept shouting. Wendy, are you there? No one answered him. Bang! Another explosion. Cedric had no time to dodge and was instantly blown back. After coughing violently, he swam forward again with all his might. But he could only see the boat blown to pieces. Could it be that? Cedric dared not think further. He took a deep breath and dove underwater. He strained to keep his eyes open, searching for any sign of Wendy. But the entire seabed was clean. There was nothing. In that moment, Cedric's eyes began to sting. He could no longer tell if what filled his eyes were tears or seawater. Cedric was rescued by the emergency response team that rushed to the scene. When he regained consciousness, he found his bed surrounded by many people. Olivia was closest to him, tears streaming down her face incessantly. He scanned the room but couldn't see the familiar figure he was looking for. When he spoke again, his voice was hoarse. "Where's Wendy?" All concerned voices fell silent at once, except for Olivia, who cried out, "She's dead." The rescue team searched the sea for an entire day, but they only found fragments of the small boat. No remains were found. Cedric stared blankly at Olivia, then spoke softly. "Didn't you ask them to keep searching?" Olivia cried even louder. "How could we keep searching? We couldn't find her after 24 hours. Unless you drain the entire sea, there's no chance of finding her. Even if we drained it, we'd only find a body." Cedric shouted in anger and desperation. "You're talking nonsense. How can you prove she's dead when we haven't even found her remains?" He then struggled to search for his mobile phone, disregarding whether it would aggravate his injuries. Everyone tried to hold him down, but he violently shook them off. The fore in his arm was pulled out, causing small spots of blood to appear. Upon seeing his phone, he reached for it without caring if he could actually grasp it, and immediately dialed the rescue team's number. But the result he heard was the same as before. Wendy Berry's remains were not found. The rescue worker on the other end said, "Mr. Harvey, please accept our condolences." A rumble of thunder outside, the clear sky turned overcast, with thunder crashing in the distance. Before the rain fell, Cedric's tears came first. Just this morning, Wendy had smiled and told him that breakfast was ready. And after eating, they could head out to attend Olivia's birthday party. She had smiled so happily, looking genuinely excited and adorable. Cedric felt a pang of anxiety, but then calmed down as he remembered his original intentions. Wasn't he just trying to get revenge on Wendy? This birthday party was supposed to be the final act of revenge. In his plan, after making Olivia happy, he would immediately call the rescue team to save Wendy. Then, after revealing all the truths of the past years to her, given Wendy's personality, she would be devastated. But it didn't matter. He would give her enough money to live comfortably for several years. They would part ways amicably and might even remain friends. But he never imagined he would be targeted by his enemies, that the small boat prepared for Wendy would have a bomb. He never imagined Wendy would die before his eyes. After a moment of shock, Cedric left the hospital against everyone's advice, pulling out his fore. He drove at breakneck speed to Wendy's apartment building. He had been to this run-down estate many times before, but had never gone inside. In the past, he had despised this dilapidated place from the bottom of his heart. But he knew Wendy couldn't afford better, and he had never considered letting Wendy live with him. After all, Olivia would visit, following the address Wendy had left him. He entered the innermost building and went up to the 8th floor. What a shabby door. There was a pair of wine bottles outside the door opposite hers, suggesting an alcoholic lived there. How dangerous. Then, he rummaged through his key ring and found a worn-out key, which he used to open the door. This was his first time stepping inside. The interior was completely different from the outside. Although the flat was small and cramped, everything was spotlessly clean. Many surfaces were covered with bright yellow tablecloths, and there were vases of flowers where the sunlight hit, making it look warm and bright even on a rainy day. It was clear that Wendy loved life. Moreover, the place was full of reminders of Cedric. He recognized the huge stuffed toy at the entrance, which he had given her for her birthday. On the dining table in the living room sat a mismatched tea set, originally intended as a gift for his grandfather, but given to Wendy when his grandfather deemed it rubbish. There was also a strange painting on the wall. It was a carelessly drawn picture he had framed and given to Wendy. At the time, he had casually mentioned that it contained hidden messages for her. He walked up to the painting and saw a full page of carefully written notes next to it. The paper had yellowed, he noticed only now. His eyes welled up, and he spoke softly. Fool. How could she believe everything he said? And he stood there, dumbfounded. Wasn't she indeed a fool? Otherwise how could she have been tricked more than 40 times? And even after discovering the truth, willingly boarded that small boat, enduring it for the 50th time. I regret it, I just want you back, Cedric mumbled. He took a deep breath before finally entering the bedroom. The bedroom looked even more cramped, with things piled so high he had to crane his neck to see everything. Despite this, There was still a clothes rack by the wall, full of clothes he had given her, thoughtfully protected by dust covers. He rarely saw Wendy wear these clothes, except on special occasions. Like his birthday, when he received awards, their anniversary. But on occasions that were just for Wendy, she still wore ordinary, even shabby clothes. Realizing this, Cedric suddenly felt something was wrong and raised his hand to slap himself. Bastard. One slap wasn't enough. He gave himself several more. Scumbag. Suddenly, a wary female voice came from behind him. Who are you? Get out of my friend's house now. Cedric turned around to see Liza Black holding a knife. He vaguely remembered her as Wendy's best friend. He then put on a smile. Hello. After seeing his face clearly, Liza's tone became even more vicious. You bastard. What are you still doing here? Wasn't killing Wendy enough? You're after her last bit of assets too. Cedric realized he had been misunderstood. He opened his mouth hesitantly. That's not it. I just wanted to come and see. Liza snorted coldly. Have you seen enough then? Get out of here now. I'm sure Wendy wouldn't want you here in her final moments. Cedric didn't argue. He felt Liza was right. He lowered his head, then spoke pleadingly. Can I take one set of her clothes? I want to make a cenotaph for her. Liza was silent for a moment, her expression towards Cedric unclear. Fine. Cedric looked up and began searching for the most suitable outfit. His eyes fell on a set by the bed. He remembered the weather had suddenly turned cold a few days ago. This short-sleeved top and shorts must have been what she changed into before going out. As he carefully picked them up, a faint scent belonging to Wendy still lingered. Cedric rarely smiled, but he did now. This set would do. Wendy's headstone was placed in the back garden of Cedric's house. His reasoning was simple. It would be convenient for him to clean it every day, and he could see her daily. Only Olivia, standing next to him, was dumbfounded. She pointed at the words on the headstone and loudly questioned. What do you mean, beloved wife of Cedric Harvey? Wendy Berry was your wife, so who am I? Cedric, think clearly. It's me you love, not her. The more Olivia thought about it, the angrier she became. She furiously walked over to remove the headstone but was roughly pulled back by Cedric. She met Cedric's eyes, full of murderous intent. Try touching it, I dare you. Olivia had never seen Cedric like this. She trembled for a moment, then cried out in grievance. What do you mean? You're shouting at me for her? What's going on with you? Don't tell me you've actually fallen for her. Didn't you only date her in the beginning to get revenge on her for taking my scholarship? At the mention of the scholarship, the anger in Cedric's eyes intensified. You've always had everything handed to you. You didn't need that scholarship. But Wendy was different. She was truly poor. Without that money, she would have died. Olivia didn't understand Cedric's meaning and sneered. What? It was just pocket money to me. Was it worth hurting me for her? Olivia didn't finish her sentence because Cedric slapped her across the face. This was the first time she had ever been hit in her life. Olivia looked at him in disbelief, then reached out with her long nails to scratch at Cedric. How dare you hit me? I'll fight you. Unfortunately, the difference in strength between men and women was too great. Olivia's movements were quickly restrained by Cedric. Crack. Ah. Olivia heard the sound of her left arm breaking and cried out in pain. My arm is broken. My arm is broken. Cedric spoke coldly. I remember you used your left hand to cut the rope back then. I can't send you to hell to meet her, so I'll just have to make sure your left hand doesn't harm anyone else. Olivia was in so much pain that she was drenched in sweat. Cedric tossed her aside and spoke. Someone take her away. Don't let her appear here again. Then Cedric ignored Olivia's cries and knelt before Wendy's grave. This is a small bit of revenge for you. I hope you're happy watching from down there. The Harvey family had always been much larger than the Whites. To avenge Wendy, Cedric directly crushed the White family in the market. Overnight, the White family vanished from the market and declared bankruptcy. The White parents didn't know how they had offended the Harvey family. They tried every means to contact Cedric, hoping he would show mercy. But no matter what they did, Cedric refused to see anyone from the White family again. Later, driven to desperation by debts, the White parents jumped from a building. Olivia White witnessed the scene directly and was traumatized. Afterwards, Cedric sent Olivia to a mental hospital, saying she was never to be released. These days, those who had helped Cedric take revenge on Wendy's behalf were disappearing one by one. Cedric sent all those who had directly harmed Wendy to mental hospitals. As for the two who had directly harassed Wendy, he sent them straight to the police station. According to his instructions, these two would spend their lives in prison, suffering the same torments there. Cedric printed out all the latest news and showed it to Wendy. He asked softly, "Are you happier now?" That night, he had a very long dream. He dreamed again of what happened on the cruise ship that day. In the dream, he watched helplessly as Wendy's body was slowly burned to ashes before his eyes. Wendy spoke softly, "Are you satisfied now?" This sentence echoed in his mind like a nightmare, repeating many times. In the dream, Cedric also cried out many times, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please don't die. Don't die." Shouting and shouting, Cedric suddenly woke up, abruptly sitting up. For some reason, he always felt that Wendy wasn't really dead. The next day, after daybreak, he picked up his phone and contacted his assistant, looking to Liza Black. "This was my last day on the island. While I was still at Margie's house helping her collect vegetables, I received a call from Liza. Do you know, since I went to your house to help pack your things?" In the following days, Cedric's friends, including Olivia White, were all sent away by Cedric. And all these people have been declared bankrupt, owing a mountain of debt. Do you think he's taking revenge for you? I straightened up and replied somewhat exasperatedly. Then why is the one who should be punished most still alive? After chatting with Liza for a while and finishing helping the Larsons collect vegetables, I set off back to the cottage to pack my things and leave. When Margie and Brandon Larson found out, they insisted on seeing me off. I couldn't refuse, so I let them accompany me. At the last moment before leaving, I left behind the most valuable bracelet I had as payment for them. They wanted to refuse, but seeing my determined expression, and my stance that I wouldn't leave if they didn't accept it, they finally took it. When you come back to visit us next time, we'll return it to you. I nodded in my heart. I thought perhaps I would never come back in this lifetime. There are very few taxis on the small island. I was very lucky today and got one quickly. As soon as I got on the taxi, I saw the driver in front take off his mask. When I saw his face clearly, cold sweat quickly covered my entire back. It was Cedric Harvey. He smiled slightly. "I knew you weren't dead." I immediately tried to open the door to get off, but no matter how I pulled at the door, it wouldn't budge. It had been locked by Cedric. After struggling in vain, I spoke coldly. "What do you want?" Cedric drove faster and faster, his eyes flashing with excitement. "To take you home." I steeled myself and directly reached forward to grab the steering wheel from Cedric. The car twisted and turned under our dual control. Cedric's eyes widened as he watched the car veer out of his control towards the sea. I glared at him coldly and said, "I don't mind dying for real this time." As the seawater began to submerge the front of the car, Cedric suddenly slammed on the brakes. I saw despair fill his eyes. I'll go, just don't really die." His voice trembled, and then I slowly retreated to the back, watching him inch the car back to safety bit by bit. "Get out of the car." Fearing he might go back on his word, I directly ordered him. Cedric gripped the steering wheel tightly, pressing his lips together, looking at me unwillingly. Seeing he didn't move, I reached for the steering wheel again. Cedric shouted anxiously, I'll get out. Okay." Then I watched as he lowered his head and indeed opened the door to get out. In an instant, I immediately crossed over to the driver's seat. Before Cedric could react, I slammed on the accelerator and sped forward. Cedric's figure grew smaller and smaller behind me. My heart, which had been pounding furiously, finally calmed down. To be honest, I never imagined Cedric would be this crazy. I had thought he would be upset, perhaps depressed for a while I would find a brand new city and live my own life. We would become two parallel lines that would never intersect again. After entering the mainland, I met Liza, whom I hadn't seen in a long time. As soon as we met, she hugged me and cried loudly. "I'm so glad you're okay. Quick, get in the car. I bought you a train ticket to Edinburgh and I've put £2,000 in your account." I was surprised and suddenly felt like crying. "Thank you." Actually, I was used to being poor, accustomed to living with almost no money in my pocket. Even this train ticket was borrowed from her. Liza pushed a suitcase into my hands and said with a smile, "You're free now, Wendy." In the blink of an eye, 3 months flew by. After organizing and submitting my experiences from previous companies, I quickly found a new job here. I had never felt like I was truly living before. I took a deep breath. Indeed, the air was filled with a refreshing taste. When Liza told me about Cedric's latest movements, I was lying on the sofa at home eating chips. She told me, Wendy, that bastard Cedric Harvey has been arrested for all his evil deeds." Liza excitedly shared a link with me. I clicked on it and indeed saw the news of Cedric's arrest. With the Harvey family fallen, he probably won't have many good days left. His good friends inside are waiting for him. I nodded along while scrolling and saw Cedric with his head shaved. Wearing a mask facing the camera, our gazes meeting across space. This time I was no longer afraid. I enjoyed the warmth of the sunlight streaming in, sighing contentedly. This is what life should be like.